Assalamu alaikum, everyone, and welcome to ABSA's first marriage workshop with Dr. Kianpour. Inshallah, we'll go ahead and get started, and if we have others join us, we'll make the recording available to them if they missed anything in the beginning. Just as a reminder, your default has already been set to keeping your microphone on mute and your video off, but if you would like to speak at some point, you're welcome to use the chat function on your screen, or later in the workshop, we'll have a more interactive piece, so you'll need to just work your microphone by hitting unmute for that portion. If you run into any technical issues, please send me a private message. You can just click on my name and then send me a chat message. Inshallah, I'll try my best to help you. Before we get started with the workshop, I did want to just say a few words about ABSA for those of you who are unfamiliar with the organization. ABSA is the Ahlul-Bayt Student Association Network, and it was founded about 2 or so years ago with the idea of being a platform to connect all the different student organizations across North America as well as around the world, to have an umbrella body that allows us to all really capitalize on our resources and our ideas, inshallah, to promote and build off of the teachings of our beloved Ahlul-Bayt. The website for ABSA is absanetwork.com. I'll put that in the chat box as well in case anybody has not visited the website. You can find more information there and inshallah learn more about the organization and help spread the word to our community. With that being said, I'd like to introduce Dr. Kianpour, who will be leading our workshop today. He earned his master's degree in clinical psychology, family therapy from the University of Science and Culture in Tehran. He moved to the United States in 2014 to pursue his PhD in human development, marriage, and family therapy at the Virginia Polytechnic Institute and State University. There, he also did his internship as a doctoral behavioral science intern at Indiana University School of Medicine. Dr. Kianpour now lives in Canada, where he has established his own clinical practice. He has a great amount of experience in counseling individuals, couples, and families in Iran, the United States, as well as in Canada. We really appreciate that he's giving his time to all of us here, and inshallah, everybody's able to benefit from what he shares. With that, Dr. Kianpour, the floor is yours, and inshallah, you can share your knowledge with all of us.
Thank you so much, Sister Sarah, for introducing ABSA and also giving a short biography, my biography. Okay, so far as I see 15 people, 16 people right now joined the workshop, and inshallah. So, okay, so let me share my screen. Okay, so we the first reason that I talked to Brother Muhammad Iman for having a workshop about marriage, and we discussed a lot for few hours, and then prepare, work on this project for at least a month every week, and to see what we can do for the community regarding the marriage, because marriage is a big thing. It's a real concern for the community, specifically for those who probably born and raised in the United States or Canada, and or in general in Western cultures. So, and they have some limitations that some other people might not have, and we need to work on this issue. And alhamdulillah, we come up with this workshop, and we work very hard to to make this plan, and inshallah we're gonna go in detail about the marriage and to see how we can help the community. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The first question is that why should we have a workshop about the marriage? It's a really big question, and because of that, we need to think about a marriage in our community. So there are many young people, those like students who came from other countries to the United States or Canada to pursue their graduate study, either in master or PhD, or those who's born and raised in North America. So there are like families and parents who might not have enough knowledge to approach this issue with their kids, or if they have, it might be kind of traditional way that they went through themselves, and now they want to apply that for their kids, for their children. And for some of them might work, but some of them might not. But I think that we, with this workshop, we can have like provide like some knowledge for either parents or the marriage candidate to update the knowledge and to see other opportunities that they can go through, and having a good experience in this process. So the first of all, it's a really big need in our community, and so and also before all the marriage candidates, before getting married, they need to have some basic knowledge about the marriage and the process that they need to go through, and like in the community that they are living, they need to know the characteristics of those community and those people that they want to get to know, and the consequence of what they are doing, like going through the marriage process have some consequences. By consequences, I mean like whatever that they're gonna face after they get to know someone and get married. So there are lots of ways that they can go through, like the job that they are going to have, like if they want to have like kids or some of the stuff that they have to go through, and they need to have like a clear and broad idea about the um, outcome of what what they are going to do. So this is the main reason that we uh, plan this workshop, and inshallah we can cover all those concerns that the community has regarding this issue. And like some practical expectation that we have after we're done with this workshop is that we can identify your motivation for marriage. So we're gonna cover that in self-identification. In the next slide, I'm gonna show you the categories that we are going through. Recognizing empirical measures that speak to your motivation. So the measures, what you need to examine through this process. So you need to examine, for example, the level of your education and the another party, the religiosity of yourself and another party, the everything, like your family characteristics, his or her family characteristics and everything. And then some practical way of approaching marriage, how you can like get connected to, for example, matchmakers, or if you want to do like online dating, or like through the online, dating websites. So which are designed, some of them are designed for the Muslim communities. By dating, I don't mean like the way that like other Muslims may go through. I mean, in general, the way that people approach marriage, and also learn some ways that you can maintain your marriage after marriage. By marriage, I mean the relationship uh, through some effective communications. So, as you see here, in this workshop, we covered these four topics: self-identification, measures for marriage, proposal, and maintenance. And hopefully, each session gonna last for 20 minutes, and then we have a scenario, and we talk about the scenarios, and we ask you to analyze a scenario based on what you've learned through the workshop at the end of each session. And probably we have some times to uh, do the very, very brief Q&A, or just give this opportunity or time to you to talk about the scenario and to see how you can analyze this scenario, and then how you can apply that scenario into your own story in your life. Um, it's a kind of learning activity, and I hope that it helps you uh, to identify your characteristics, and then for like in the perspectives sessions, the measures that you need to apply for getting to know the another party. By another party, I mean someone who you are trying to get to know for the purpose of marriage. And in the proposal session and after marriage, what we call it maintenance.
Okay. What do we mean by self-identification? So by self-identification, I mean all those ways that you can apply to get to know yourself better. So it doesn't matter which way you go, whatever that works and fit into, it's a good fit for your like desire or whatever, that you think that in this way you can, know self better for the specifically for the purpose of marriage. So let's just start with the some personal characteristics that you can get to know. So all of us are expert in our own narrative or in our our own stories of life. So we think that we know ourselves very well, but sometimes there are some characteristics or qualities that we might not be aware of, and in communication or like in the network that we have with other people, we can get to know those characteristics better. So if we can, for example, ask some people who are close to us to let us know some of the characteristics that we have, whatever that they like, whatever that they don't like, or whatever that can help you to get to know yourself better. So, and also I want to make it distinguish between two issues here when you are trying to get to know your personal characteristics. Sometimes, for example, if you ask someone, who are you? And he's or she might say that, okay, so I am like blah, blah, blah. And I am like a scientist, or I'm a doctor, or I'm like a master's student, undergraduate student, or I'm for example, American, Canadian, Lebanese, Iranian, Pakistani, Iraqi, and I'm from a family of like this and this. But sometimes some of those characteristics are those qualities that we have. They are not part of us. For example, if I have like a master's degree, or I am expert in some specific field, I would say I have that quality. I'm not part of that quality, or that quality is not part of me. I have that quality. But when I say, for example, I'm like a Middle Eastern, for example, Iranian, or a religious person, or I'm for example, like an atheist. So that is part of me. I cannot, escape from that quality or characteristics. That's very important. So for this issue, I would suggest you to read a book. The name of the book is To Have or To Be, from Eric Fromm. That's a very good book. He's talk about the what we have and who we are. So, and he clearly distinguish these two issues very well in this book. I guess the book is for 1989. It's quite old, but it's very informative and really helps us to understand ourselves better. And also you can, regarding the family characteristics, you can identify and make a list of all those characteristics that your family has. For example, is a religious family, is a middle class family, your parents, who who your parents are, who your siblings are. You know, if you can have really good things that you can do is have a family tree, like what we call it genogram. Um, if you just type in genogram, you can get a lot of information through internet, and it really helps you to get to know yourself and also your family. And in this way, it's really encourage you to get more information about your family. So this genogram can be about like a tree about your genetics, but also it can be around about your relationships and your family relationships. And lots of other things that you can imagine. You can like all those information that you can get from this genogram. And another thing is to think about how your personality is affected or inspired by your parents or your family characteristics. That's a very important issue. So the home that our parents build up for us, they invest and they implement lots of characteristic in us, within us. And we are growing up with all those qualities. And when we become an adult, we try to have our own personalities, which share with some characteristic with our parents. But some of us, we can like think independently and have our own characteristics or qualities. But it's good to know all those characteristics that we got from our parents in a home that we grew up. It really helps us to understand ourselves and get to know ourselves better. And it really helps when we are trying to get to know someone else for the purpose of marriage. Okay, so before going through the motivation, because in the self-identification, I would like to focus mainly on motivation and like the reason that you have for marriage, because it's the biggest or like the most important question that you can ask yourself about marriage. Why I'm going to get married? What is my motivation for marriage? So some of the manifest or clear reasons for getting married, which comes out from like when you talk with the people, like it's, for example, the first one and the biggest one is love and companionship, because we as a human being, we love to love, and also we love to be loved. That's a very important issue. So, and love is the main reason that many people around the world want to get married. But before, like during the, right now we are living in a digital arena, but like in agriculture or arena or industrial, mainly in agriculture, probably the main purpose of marriage was to having kids, children, specifically boys, because of the properties that we have, because boys could work and can, get the family some benefits, give some benefits to the family, like by working and, having the property, like by transferring the properties or whatever that like a family has to the next generation. So it used to be like having children used to be the main reason for marriage, but right now, based on all the researchers have done, love and companionship is the biggest reason. So children, some people, there are still some people around the world that the main reason that they get married is to have children. There are so many reasons why they choose that reason, but all those reasons are varied across the world and among people. And adult identity in some community, getting married is the way, it's a markland. It's the way that they can show to the community that we are adult. The person who gets married, he or she show to other people in the community that he or she is getting adult. And commitment and personal fulfillment. So it's like a long-lasting marriage and relationship. it is the main point of the reason for some of the people who want to get married. And some of the a few latent or like hidden reasons for getting married, for example, social legitimacy. Some people looking for legitimacy in the community that they live because of what they did, and they choose to get married because of whatever that they did, and it's a reason for some people. And also social pressure. For example, just imagine that you are in a community and you see that in that community all young people like in the age of 20 to 25 get married. So there is a pressure in that community, in that context, that push all young people in that age to get married. And it can create some issues for some, but social pressure can be a reason. Economic security. Some people do not have economic security in their home, in their parents' home, like where they born and raised up. So, but they need to have that economic security by getting married with someone else and having their own family. Rebellion can be a reason. Some people have problem in their home. They want to just escape from that context, and they need a way. So marriage can be one of those ways, and it's not rare. You can see everywhere that like those rebels, like those who are trying to escape from the conflict inside of their home. They choose marriage because marriage probably is the good reason and like a justification to run away from that situation. And practical solution to problems. Sometimes people have like some problems and they need to find a way to overcome all those problems, and one of the practical ways is to getting married. So probably this reason is good for those who decide to do like cohabitation. It is rare in Muslim communities, but there are some people who do that even in the Muslim community. So, and they think that because they are, for example, boyfriend or girlfriend, or they are doing like cohabitation and they have lots of problem, if they get married, all those problems are like solved. But that's not the issue. It makes it even worse. So the main purpose of marriage, I just want you right now to think about your motivation and ask this question: what does encourage me to move and think about marriage? This is a task for you. It's like kind of a homework or assignment to list off any reasons that you have for marriage. Like make a list of your motivations, whatever that you think that when you think of that like reason or like motivation, when you think of that, you feel good and you think that, okay, so there is an urge, is there something that's like push me toward thinking about marriage and like practically taking some steps toward the marriage. And this assignment is for yourself. You don't need to share with me or someone else, but just think about it. So some of the reasons, like as I covered like in previous slides and also here, like some people have like a love or sexual desires. It's like a motivation, type of motivation that they have. Fulfilling our personal needs, such as independency. I want to, be independent from my parents. So marriage can help me to do that. I think that it can help. Having kids, as I discussed it, marriage is an escape hatch from the problems. It can be all the reasons. We need to, be honest with ourselves and make a list of whatever that we think is a kind of a reason for us for thinking about marriage. And also the Next step is to like what are all those expectations that I have about marriage, and also my family expectations. So we don't have time to cover it in deep, but if you can like have all your expectation of marriage, what you expect to gain from the marriage, um, that really is overlap with your reasons and also your motivation. And if you can have like make a list of all your motivations and reasons for marriage, and also your family reasons or family expectations of marriage, and try to see what you have in common and what you don't have. So, and it really helps you to understand yourself and also your family better. Um, and also, if you can like do a reality check to see if all those expectations practical or align with the reality. So we're gonna in the next sessions we're gonna talk about all those measures to see how we can do this reality check, and to see if like our expectations are aligned with the reality or not. So some of the things that can help you to to do the self-identification, for example, like interracial marriage, because it's common in the community, among the Shia community, for example, we have some people from Lebanon, immigrants from Lebanon, from Iraq, from Pakistan, from like a Khoja community, or from Iran. Are we okay to getting married with someone whose nationality, or even in some cases ethnicity, is different from us? Our parents are okay with that or not? Or our own mental health, like every people, every individual might experience some sort of psychiatric disease in their life, like it can be like in a short period of time or long term, but or they may go to see a specialist for that, or they may take like some medication for a while or not. But it's good to know, like, if you used to have depression, or you still have depression, or if you feel that you might have some sort of an anxiety or some other severe psychiatric disorders, it's good to to do not escape from those, and just having in your mind that there are like some possibilities of the some psychiatric disorders, and also the physical characteristics or attraction, like the beauty and disease that we discussed in the mental health issues. So, and and how, like, for example, these physical characteristics are important for us, for like not just for the purpose of marriage, but for myself. Is beauty really important to me, like in my communication in the society, like with some other people in the network of relationships that I have? Is it a big issue for me when I meet someone? Like the beauty or the physical attraction, is it a big issue for me to make that connection, to start to initiate a relationship or not? It, these are very important issue, because they really affect the way that we approach marriage. And also the role of husband and wife at home. If we think that these roles should be Islamic or not, or if we believe in Islamic role of husband and wife. And inshallah, in the next session, we're gonna talk to see how the level of religiosity uh, affect the way that we think about these roles. Um, so these are like some examples that can help you for the self-identification. Okay, so now we have a scenario. If Sister Sarah can share the scenario with the participants.
Sure, just give me 1 second.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Are you able to see the scenario?
Yes.
Okay. I'll give you just a high-level overview of both of these characters who the scenarios are about, and then I'll leave it up in case anybody would like to continue reading after we've gone through that overview. So our first character, we have Amir, who is 25 years old. He came to the United States to pursue his PhD and has been living in a small town in Wisconsin. He's feeling a lot of pressure living in Wisconsin, being away from his family, not having a strong Muslim community around him, and feeling some pressure from his friends or his colleagues to go to restaurants and bars and that sort of a thing. He's very close with his family, and likely they'll have some kind of a say or involvement in whoever he marries. And he's been beginning to think about marriage would be a good solution or a next step for him, given where he is in life and where he would like to be. He's open to somebody from a different identity, a convert or a Muslim who is born and raised in the United States, and is considering that as being a good fit for what he's looking for. That's a little bit about Amir. I'm going to scroll down. I'll come back to this in a minute in case anybody would like to read more closely. But I'll introduce you to Fatima. She's a 23-year-old Pakistani American. She was born and raised in Houston, Texas, but is currently living in California, where she's pursuing her master's in economics. She's very active in her local community, and she herself comes from a mixed background, one parent Pakistani and then one parent Caucasian. She is known to be a kind sister, somebody who has a strong voice, and is well known for initiating conversations around controversial topics such as Islam and feminism. In terms of her beliefs, she believes in egalitarianism, wants to have the same rights as her husband, regardless of cultural background, and believes that marriage will be a good step towards the independence that she's currently seeking. She was born and raised in Houston, but really enjoys California, especially because she has some family that are there as well. So with that, I will leave this up so you can continue to read through it, but I'll pass it back to Dr. Kianpour to walk us through the activity.
And Sister, sorry if you can go to the, yeah, thank you. Okay. So what I want you to do is to make a list of the characteristics, Amir's characteristics and Fatima characteristics. You can do that later, like after the done with this session. And the purpose of this scenario is to help you to do the self-identification process. So after you make a list of the Fatima characteristics and Amir characteristics, I want to do exactly the same for yourself, to cover like all the characteristics that you have. And also, as I said in the beginning, if you can ask your all like the close people, like your parents, your sibling, your close friends, to give you like some of the qualities that you have, and you might not be aware of them, except you need to ask them to, to get to know those qualities, and it helps you to have a better idea about yourself. Um, so if we want to, for example, introduce these two together, what do you think is the problem? So if anyone wants to share his or her thoughts, Sister Sarah can just unmute whoever like is like a volunteer or wants to share. That would be good, because we don't have lots of time. and we don't want to continue this session for a long, time, and gets like a boring. So we probably have like time for 3 to 5 people. So Sister Sarah, if anyone who's interested can send you a message and you can unmute, and just in 1 or 2 minutes, just share what you think. And specifically, I want to share your thought regarding the motivation that specifically Amir has about marriage, and also Fatima. So the motivation or the reason that they have for marriage.
If it's helpful as people are starting to think, feel free to use the chat box also to just type down a few words or thoughts that you have. And then inshallah, you can actually unmute yourself. We'll take a few comments around your analysis of Amir's motivations. Since people might be a little bit shy, maybe I can offer one thought is that it seems like a strong motivation for Amir is that he is really missing his family and thinks that marriage can help fill that gap that he has right now.
So, and do you think that it's kind of logic or appropriate reason for getting married?
I think it could be. It seems though that because he's identified a sense of depression in himself or a pressure he's feeling, that he may also have some emotional pressures that are pushing him in this direction.
Okay. So, for example, according to what you said, so is there any other alternative way that he can do to overcome all the challenges that he has, like for example in terms of like depression or feeling emotionally disappointed because of the situation that he's living, and also the fact that he's missing his family? So there might be some other alternative ways that he can overcome all those challenges. Is Amir's solution for his mental health sustainable? Like for the marriage, I don't think so. Like marriage cannot be a solution for the mental health issue. So probably his depression is a type of situational depression. Situational depression is whenever, like for example, we are located in a situation and we are under lots of pressure and then we feel depressed, and if we get out of that situation, we don't feel depressed anymore. So probably is better way for Amir is to find a way to get himself out of this situation. It doesn't mean that like physically or geographically he get out of that situation. He might have some alternative ways, like if he can find a way to, for example, go back to Lebanon just for a short visit, it really helps. Or ask a family friend or like one of like family members can have a trip to, for example, to the United States to see him there. Or if he can go, just simply go to the counseling center at the campus that are available in all of the campus in the United States, I assume, to talk about the challenges that he's experiencing. All of those ways can help him to overcome this challenge, or think of some other ways that he can do. But and also the marriage is not the thing that like a solution or whatever that I can do like with a magical stick. I just hit it and I get married. So it takes a long time to get to know someone and then get married. So you don't know how long it may take for you. For some it's very short, for some it's very long. So, and by the end of his getting his PhD, if he start from now, he start like to getting know someone and also continue his PhD, probably he can like get married after he graduated. So this process can take long time, for at least like 1 or 2 years. So marriage is not at this situation for him. marriage is not the thing that like a permanent solution. Fatima says he sees marriage as a tool that would save him from un-Islamic activity that might be forced by his friends, which can be a good reason. It can be a good reason, but as I said, there might be some other ways he can do. And also, if he, because the town that he's living in Wisconsin, and there is no like lots of, there is no like a Muslim community that he can get involved or have some friends, how he can expect someone like Fatima, who's very active in her own community, come to Wisconsin and join him and live there with all those networks of relationships that she has there in California. And also the fact that she's very very active in the campus and in the community, and also love California, and one of her siblings and also aunties lives there. So it's really difficult. I think it's very difficult. It's kind of demanding. Ask Fatima to come to join Amir there. So these are all those realities that I'm trying to focus on to, in terms of the reality check. Yeah, we need to be realistic first, and then to see how that alternative or whatever that we think of work for the situation we are located right now. I hope what I'm saying makes sense. What about Fatima character? Can she reach her goal, independency by marriage? It depends on, it depends on who's going to get married with. It's very important. If that person, like her future husband, has already financial independency, it really helps her also to get that independency too. But if not, it might be some issue. But if they have like that capacity to work hard and toward their goals, and if they have plan and goals for work and whatever that they have, like the goals in terms of the goal in their life and also in their marriage, they can build up that marriage and they can build up that independency together. It doesn't mean that the Fatima's future husband should have like that independency already, but they can build it up together. But I don't think getting married just for having that independency, it's kind of a good reason. So it's a really general question, so it can be varied among all the Muslim individuals. So every one of us, have our own reasons for getting married. So I cannot like give you suggestion or advise you about like this reason is good or that reason is bad. So you need to have your own reasons and then try to like doing the reality check to see if that reason is realistic or not. That reason at the situation that you are located right now, that reason is a good reason for getting married or not. So for the if I can share my screen, am I able to do that?
Yes, you can.
Okay. Here I just try to cover some of the here are the manifest reason for getting married. So love and companionship absolutely is a good reason. Children can be a good reason, but for some not. So children per se, I don't think so. I don't think that can be your first priority for getting married. Yes, children absolutely is part of the reason that we get married. We should have, some people decide to be child-free, but as part of the life cycle that all of us have, for the continuation of our generation, and also to be a healthy and functional family, it's good to have children. So, and also adult identity, it's a good one because in some community, it's a landmark. So sometimes we need to go, we need to be aligned with the norms of the community that we live. We cannot be rebellion, you know, say that, okay, so I don't like, we would say like we are critical of all of those traditions or whatever that this community are living. But we need to, if we want to live in that community, we need to go with some of the traditions, and and also commitment and personal fulfillment. It can be one of those reasons. But here, as you see here, like those some of the reasons that might not be really visible. So these are absolutely are not good reason for getting married for anyone, like social pressure, social legitimacy. Social legitimacy specifically are for those who are having sexual relationship before marriage, and suddenly they got a kid, and then to legitimize what they've done, they get married before everyone knows. So that marriage is not, it's not going to be last, I think, based on the experience or based on whatever that we've seen so far. So, or economic security, if we have plan for our life, if we know what we need to, what I am going to do for like in future, like at least I have a plan for the next 5 years. I know that I'm getting to go get my master and then my PhD and then get that position or get that job. Economic security is good. I think for some is good reason. And rebellion or practical solutions to the problems absolutely are not good reason for getting married. It's just going to get everything worth. So yeah, but all those reasons are varied among people, and we cannot say that that a specific reason is good or not. Just accept all those things that in general we can say, if you are getting married because of like this, because of the problem that you have in your house, or you are, you know, there is like a social pressure or social legitimacy, these are not good. But other than that, you just need to do a reality check.
We have a few questions that have come in on the chat, and mashallah, very thoughtful questions. I just want to remind everybody that the session was only an hour, but there is a Q&A session, inshallah, on Saturday, where you can attend to have these questions be answered in more detail. I also did want to just remind everybody at the very start of this session, Dr. Kianpour told us that the purpose was for us to really think deeply and intentionally about our own personal reasons for wanting to get married. And inshallah, that can be some homework that everybody can do over the next week. The case studies were there as an example for us, but really the benefit of this session is for us to do that type of reflection for ourselves. Dr. Kianpour, I didn't want to speak out of turn, but inshallah, you can let the group know any closing thoughts that you may have, or any, if you want to answer any of these questions very quickly, and then inshallah, we can wrap up in just a couple of minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. But I think we don't have enough time. I just don't want to make it like boring, this workshop, by going beyond the time that we already told participants. So I will answer all these questions, the rest of these questions, and I gonna talk about the answers on the Q&A sessions on Saturday, inshallah. And yeah, so just make sure that you have, just make a list of your reasons and motivations, your expectations, personal characteristics, family characteristics, and you can use this scenario as an example. You are the only expert of your life, and you know your story better than anyone else. So just use that, like get benefit of the scenario. And also I ask to if they can send an email, like send the scenario to you to have that example, to make a list of the personal characteristics and also family characteristics of yourself. Yeah, inshallah, we talk about the answer, talk about the answers, and on also any other questions that you may have on Q&A sessions on Saturday, inshallah. Salam alaikum.
Alaikum assalam. Thank you so much, Dr. Kianpour. I put the reminders for the next session in the chat box for anybody to see. So please do take the time that the doctor has asked us to do to reflect on your personal situation. Inshallah, you can send any questions to the chat group or the ABSA email. The optional Q&A session will be on Saturday, so please send your questions in by Wednesday. And inshallah, the next Sunday will be the second session, same time and Zoom line. And if you have any feedback in terms of moderation, please, I'm not on your chat group, please send it to the ABSA email, and inshallah they can pass that along for us to make this better the next time. Thank you all, and I don't know, Zainab, the time on Saturday, but inshallah that information can get sent out on the chat group. Thank you, everybody. Inshallah, have a good evening.